In 2024, $7.2 billion was spent on OnlyFans, with 4.6 million creator accounts trying to claim a share of it. 1 year later, the platform had grown to 5 million creator accounts, but only 2.5 million were active. If OnlyFans was still a goldmine, why had half its miners stopped digging? The obvious answer would be that OnlyFans was losing momentum, but the opposite was true. More people were registering, the number of fan accounts kept growing, and creators were receiving more money than ever before. So why was the platform becoming more successful while the opportunity for a new creator was becoming harder to see? To understand what was happening, we need to move from the number in the headline, through the platform's gate, and finally into the account of the person creating the content. And this is where the story begins to look different from what the numbers suggest. Those millions of creators had not exactly disappeared, but they were no longer truly participating in the game. To find out where that missing half went, we first need to understand how OnlyFans arrived at the figure of 2.5 million. OnlyFans reported roughly 5 million creator accounts across the platform, but only about 2.5 million of them were active. Those figures do not contradict each other, but the difference between them matters. An inactive account might belong to someone who tried the platform and stopped. It might be a second account, an unfinished experiment, or a page that never developed into a real business. OnlyFans does not publish the story behind every account, so the figure alone cannot prove that half of all creators failed. Opening an account and maintaining a business through that account are two completely different things. During the pandemic, OnlyFans became attractive because it appeared to remove almost every barrier to entry. A creator did not need a studio, a distributor, or a large company. The platform provided a payment system and a direct way to sell content to fans. Combined with flexibility, independence, and economic pressure, starting on OnlyFans seemed easier than ever. Create a page, choose a price, upload content, get paid. That was the promise. But a market with low barriers to entry creates a paradox. Many people can enter, but nothing guarantees that customers will ever see them. The total account count tells us how many people reached the mine. The active count tells us how many were still digging. But to understand why a gap of 2.5 million accounts exists, we first need to know how the gold inside this mine was divided. And that begins with $7.2 billion. $7.2 billion was not OnlyFans revenue. It was the total amount processed through OnlyFans in 2024, payments made by fans across the platform. It was the total flow of money extracted from the mine, not the amount OnlyFans kept for itself. The basic split is simple. When a fan spends $100, the creator receives $80, while OnlyFans keeps $20. In 2024, creators received about $5.8 billion. OnlyFans reported approximately $1.4 billion in revenue and nearly $684 million in profit before tax. Looking at those figures, creators clearly received the larger share. But the platform and the creator were not taking the same kind of risk. The creator had to produce the content, find customers, and persuade fans to pay. If the account earned nothing, the creator's time and effort had still been spent. OnlyFans was different. It did not need every creator to succeed. It only needed a successful transaction to happen somewhere inside the system. As long as money kept moving, OnlyFans continued collecting its share. The company could keep growing even while a large number of individual accounts became inactive. In the following financial year, OnlyFans reported about $1.6 billion in revenue and approximately $715 million in profit before tax. Creators collectively received about $6.2 billion. OnlyFans was not running out of money. It had built a toll booth in front of an enormous flow of money. But if billions of dollars were still moving through the platform, why were so many creators leaving? The answer lies in how that money was divided. Imagine a stadium filled with thousands of fans. Now place almost all the money in a few sections near the front. Then announce the total amount of money inside the stadium. The total can be enormous while most of the seats contain almost nothing. That is the problem with using OnlyFans' total creator payout to prove that an ordinary person is likely to become wealthy on the platform. Brown can demonstrate the scale with a rough calculation. If the $5.8 billion paid to creators in 2024 were divided evenly across the 4.6 million creator accounts reported that year, each account would receive roughly $1.250 for the entire year, or a little over $100 per month. That is not an official average salary. And of course, the money was not divided evenly. The calculation only shows how quickly an enormous number can become small when it is spread across millions of accounts. Independent estimates vary and are not always transparent, but they describe a market with extreme inequality. Reuters cited one industry estimate suggesting that a tiny group earned extraordinary sums while most creators made less than $100 per month. Yet when all of those completely different outcomes are added together, the total still looks spectacular. This is a market where most of the rewards go to a small number of winners. Attention is not distributed evenly. Someone who already has an audience begins with customers. A newcomer begins with an empty page. Both are counted as creator accounts, but they are not entering the same race. And this is the part the OnlyFans goldmine story usually ignores. OnlyFans is very good at monetizing attention that already exists. Creating that attention from nothing is much harder. On TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram, a recommendation system can place a new creator in front of thousands of strangers. OnlyFans works differently. Creators have to rely on direct links and outside platforms to build an audience. They promote on X, Instagram, and other services, then try to move those followers onto a paid OnlyFans page. In other words, OnlyFans is the checkout counter, not the shopping mall. It collects money, but it does not guarantee that an audience will arrive. And that completely changes the nature of the job. The creator is not only producing paid content, the creator is also operating a marketing system across several platforms. First, attract attention on a free platform. Then avoid the restrictions those free platforms place on adult content. Next, move viewers from free content to a profile link. Then persuade visitors to subscribe. And finally, give them a reason to renew next month. Once a fan subscribes, the work often becomes more personal. The subscription may only be the first door. Tips, paid messages, and additional purchases can generate a significant share of revenue for many accounts. That makes conversation, customer retention, and sales part of the product. A small account may be able to manage those relationships alone. A large account can receive more messages than one person can answer. A Reuters investigation examined an ecosystem of management agencies and hired messaging staff working for some successful creators. This does not describe every creator, but the existence of an entire service industry shows what success at scale can require. Reuters found agencies willing to manage nearly every commercial part of an account: promotion, messaging, sales, and customer retention. Now return to the original $100 payment. OnlyFans takes its platform share first. From what remains, a professional creator may still need to pay for management, editing, promotion, equipment, and taxes. Account revenue is not take-home income. Even creators who do not hire an agency still pay with their own time. OnlyFans lowered the barrier to starting. It could not remove the work required to stay in the market long enough to grow. By making entry so easy, the platform created a market where millions of people could publish while customer attention remained limited. An inactive account does not mean a person is a failure, but it can be the trace left by a business that was much easier to start than to sustain. So what made the people who entered the mine finally stop digging? There is no single cause. Some people joined for a short experiment. Some reached a personal goal and left. Others may have decided that the money was not worth the time, pressure, and long-term risk. So it would be wrong to look at every inactive account and call it a failure. This market creates several pressures that make leaving completely understandable. The first is the discovery problem. Without an existing audience, a creator may produce content for a page that almost nobody visits. The second is unstable income. A subscription does not last forever. Attention can move elsewhere, new customers may be needed to replace those who leave, and an outside social media account can be removed. The third pressure is invisible labor. Promotion happens before a person pays. Retention happens afterward. The fourth pressure is professionalization. When successful accounts use managers, sales systems, content schedules, multiple promotional pages, and teams covering messages, a solo newcomer is no longer competing only against other individuals. That person may be competing against small businesses disguised as personal pages. And the final pressure is permanence. Income can stop. Copies of the content, social stigma, or damage to privacy may remain for a very long time. That makes leaving different from abandoning an ordinary side project. Together, these pressures reveal a simple pattern. Starting is easy, being discovered is hard, staying profitable is harder, and leaving does not always erase the price paid to enter. For the ordinary newcomer, the OnlyFans gold rush is over. The easy opportunity has been replaced by a mature and competitive industry where audience, operating systems, and financial resources matter far more than the ability to open an account. And once the market is viewed that way, the final question becomes much easier to answer. Who actually got rich? The clearest winner was the platform itself. OnlyFans receives a percentage of every successful transaction without needing to predict which creator will generate it. In 2024, the company produced nearly $684 million in profit before tax. The following year, company revenue and profit increased again. That is not the economics of a disappearing gold mine. It is the economics of owning the mine. The second group of winners is real, but much smaller, the top creators with strong demand from their audiences. Some brought fame or large followings from elsewhere, others built distinctive brands, their income is real. The third group consists of the businesses surrounding successful accounts. Management agencies, messaging teams, marketing operators, software providers, and other service businesses can earn from the creator economy without becoming the face of an account. They sell the tools, labor, and systems required to compete in a crowded market. This happens in almost every gold rush. The miners face uncertain outcomes. The mine owner takes a percentage, and the people selling equipment can make money from everyone who believes they are about to find gold. OnlyFans changed adult entertainment by giving creators more control and a direct way to charge their audiences. For some people, it created real independence and life-changing income. But over time, direct access became an industry. Management agencies returned as new middlemen. Audience building moved onto other platforms. Personal communication became a sales operation, and the low barrier to entry produced millions of competitors. OnlyFans democratized the ability to enter the market. It did not democratize the outcome. So, is OnlyFans still a gold mine? For the platform, clearly yes. For a small group of creators with attention, differentiation, and professional systems, it can still be extraordinarily profitable. But for an ordinary person starting with no audience, no team, and no marketing experience, the number in the headline creates the wrong expectation. $7.2 billion tells us the market is large. It does not tell us that success is common. 5 million creator accounts tell us that entry is popular. They do not tell us that the work is sustainable. And 2.5 million active accounts do not prove that everyone else failed. But they do show how many people disappear somewhere between opening the door and continuing to operate a business. The OnlyFans gold rush did not run out of money. It ran out of easy gold. The late arrivals were not entering an empty field filled with opportunity. They were entering a mature market where attention was scarce, income was uneven, and the most reliable profit belonged to the platform collecting a fee from every transaction. And this lesson extends far beyond OnlyFans. Whenever a platform promotes the total amount of money moving through its economy, Brown asks 4 questions. How many people are sharing it? How unevenly is it distributed? How much unpaid work happens before the first dollar appears? And who earns money whether the average participant succeeds or not? Because a large market can create a powerful headline, it does not automatically create a good income.